Welcome back to the Win with Dice podcast, a podcast featuring members of the Win with Dice team. I'm Calvin, and I'm joined here by Ramon.
Hey guys, this is your first time listening to the Win with Dice podcast. This is a podcast all about tabletop RPGs. Calvin and I like to take a casual approach to the hobby, so on this podcast, we like to talk about the games that we run, and the games that we play, and the cool, wonderful people that we experience the hobby with. If this is your first experience of tabletop RPGs, what are you doing? Go find yourself a table, go have some fun, and make some memories. And if you are a player at someone's table, maybe it's your turn to be the GM.
Indeed. So this week, we're hopping back into the second half of the Starfinder 2nd Edition playtest Ancestries. We're going to look at the last 4 of those and the couple of versatile heritages that have been revealed in the book that you can technically also use in your Pathfinder 2nd Edition games if you would like to do so. But before we get into all that cool spacey stuff, we have to get to the most important part of the show, the Win with Dice weekly GM tip of the week.
Yes, the Win with Dice weekly GM tip of the week, brought to you by me, Ramon. Hey folks.
Hey.
If you are the GM for your game, you're most likely the person who is the most familiar with the rules at the table. So you know all the little intricacies and little nuances to the system. And you know, as a player, you're really excited to play your character, but you're not maybe so familiar with the mechanics as a whole. So you know, it's a really good idea to like maybe once in a while just remind your players of the options that they have at their disposal to, you know, use. Because like actually I've been fortunate enough to have a friend who's running a couple sessions of Kane, and you know, we're getting our asses handed to us by a centipede right now. It's not going very good, folks. I don't know if we're gonna make it out, but we all totally forgot that we could just bargain with the GM. Like we could just ask for more dice or whatever to just start hooks and things like that. And I totally forgot that wasn't even a part of the system. And we even reviewed all the actions we can take during like a hunt, or sorry, an execution where we're actually fighting the thing. So it's like, it feels like we were playing the game without all of our tools. But now I think we're set to take this thing on. Hopefully we survive. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those instances where it's like, as a player, it's hard to remember everything. But as a GM, you might be a little bit more familiar with the rules because, you know, you're the one running the game.
Yeah, and I think some of this would also apply to lore and story pretty much, like characters or other things that players might need to be reminded of, especially if it's been a long time between sessions and you're bringing things back up from all of those dangling plot threads. Sometimes you might also need to include a reminder of like, well, this is when you talked to this person, you had this conversation, or just came to this conclusion. Because again, as the GM, you're going to be the person who has a bigger overview of the entire game, both the game itself and the mechanics of it. So yeah, you're going to be the one who might have to remind people of certain events that may have happened or how certain mechanics work.
Yeah. Actually, to another point, recently I ran some Pathfinder, and we all took a look at all of the actions you could take in combat and like really what the implications of that could be, because you know that game with the 3 actions and the multiple attack penalty, we came to the conclusion like, hey, maybe people should be taking advantage of all this other stuff to get different bonuses or whatever, because you know, rolling through your attacks isn't always the most optimal thing you can do, or even the most fun, because it sucks to miss, right?
Yeah, that third attack is rarely going to do anything unless your enemy is unless their AC is 10 somehow. Like that third attack is rarely going to work out for you, so it's better to look at like what other actions can you do in that turn when it comes to Pathfinder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there you go, folks. There's your tip of the week. Just remind yourself and remind your players, you know, of all of the mechanics of the game every once in a while, just to jog their memory. And actually, a cool thing you could do, I guess not such a secret second tip because I'm doing it right up front. Print out those mechanics on like a handy dandy sheet. Either stick it up in front of your GM screen if you are playing IRL, or like, you know, have it as a easy accessible handout for your players online.
Oh yeah, for sure. That actually was really helpful for me when I was running Lancer, making that sort of actions per turn handout. It was a good reference for me and for the players. All right, let's hop into the episode. So, like I said, this week we're going to be taking a look at the next hit of Starfinder 2nd Edition Ancestries. I'll have the first episode linked below so you can check out. We went from the Android to the Patra, and there's a lot of really cool stuff coming up with this game. So, let's get into the next one, which is the Shirren. The insectile Shirren that split off from the Swarm, which is something we saw in first edition of Starfinder, as well as in the there was an adventure sort of focusing on the Swarm attacking a planet. And the Swarm, for people who don't know, it's like this hive mind invading entity of these bioengineered creatures that basically consume planets. Typical space fare.
Yeah. Just think of the from 40K, those xenomorph guys. Why am I don't know why I can't remember the name of the people. Tyranids, that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Those, the bugs from space.
That sounds about accurate, actually, with what I vaguely know of 40K. But the Shirren were able to split away from the swarm, forming their own culture and identity. The Shirrens are telepaths, and they are devoted to their own individualism, because, again, they were recently part of this hive mind.
Exactly, right. That'd be kind of wild to be like, oh, I believe for everybody else, right? But now you're just like trying to be an individual. That must be so surreal for them, man.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty interesting character aspect, especially if, there are some swarm-specific stuff that'll come up as we get into it, but yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. But yeah, the Shirren are very insectile. They are, again, from first edition of Starfinder, and they have their own, edicts and anathema like all the other Ancestries do. Some of the important ones being, of course, the edict of making their own choices and working for the greater good of the group, but their anathema being something that will take away the right of others to make choices, obviously spurring from their history.
Yeah, for sure.
But among the Shirren, if you are a player character, you have different heritage options that you can choose. Some are straightforward, like the Courtier Shirren, where you get a bit of a bonus to your perception checks for sensing motive when you're communicating with your telepathy. The one that stood out to me was the Defiant Shirren, where you have a bonus on will saves against something that comes from a creature that is part of the swarm or affiliated with the swarm. But you also get the Rebellious Defiance action, which I'm imagining you do a pretty cool pose where you just point at some foe that you have, some villain who dares to stand against you. And once per day, you can declare an enemy within 100 feet. You, as it says here, you decry them as a tyrant or villain and prepare yourself to defy them, even unto death, which is pretty baller.
That's so badass. You should just play a space paladin insect man being like,
yeah, right. Like the what's the type of champion? The one that's not Redeemer, the one that's it's one of the neutral ones about freedom and oh gosh, it's not reaching my brain. It's the one that helps people escape grapples.
Yeah, I know. It's our friend is playing one. I totally forgot.
But that could be a good class for a Shirren. But yeah, if you declare one of your enemies a tyrant, you'll get a +1 bonus on your attack rolls against them, as well as a bonus on saves against attacks from that foe. And this will last for 1 minute. So yeah, I can see that being pretty useful if you come across whatever the particular boss of your encounter might be. You have to do a cool speech, though. I think that should be a requirement.
Yeah, for sure. And you have to do it in a funny insect voice. That would be the best.
You have stuff like the Infiltrator, which gives you the ability to feint at a further distance, and as well you can dazzle creatures with your chitin. There's the Winged Shirren, which obviously, it lets you can jump further, and I believe at higher levels you can get a bit of a fly speed going on. And then there is the other interesting one, the other one that really stood out to me is the Swarm Exile, where you are a more recent convert from the Swarm, so you've still got some of the bioengineering applied to you, so you start off with a bio cannon. You have a ranged unarmed attack that deals acid damage.
Yeah, and this is definitely inspired by the 40K with the bio cannon, because that's all. I love 40K, but it's kind of silly. Not kind of silly, but they're I love the fact that the bugs have guns, but their guns are just bugs.
Yeah.
It's not they're shooting it. It's they're attached to another organism, and that organism shoots other organisms at people. It's wild, but yeah.
Just bugs all the way down.
It's bugs all the way down. But yeah, I like the idea of a bio cannon attached to one of your arms. It's just kaplow, kaplow.
Yeah.
Or like sploosh, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's pretty neat. It's very tempting as like a character thing. I'm very torn between, I don't know, Paladin Shirren and something more roguish as a Swarm Exile.
Bounty hunter, maybe.
Ooh. Oh yeah, you're like hunting down like other people who may have some affiliations with the Swarm. I guess I don't know if the Swarm really would do like an infiltration thing that way, but it might be a cool idea.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, so maybe we can take a look at some of these first level feats.
Alright. So yeah, you have Distant Telepath that increases the range of your telepathy. The Lashuntas had something similar. And again, I do kind of wish it just gave you a bit more of a bonus, because especially since you can select it more than once, I feel like spending a whole feat just to get 15 more feet of distance is not enough. It's not going to outclass Message, but you know, I see how it's useful.
Yeah, you should just make Message a psychic ability. Two. Like, yeah, so you get psychic talent too because you're inherently psychic. You can choose to get some occult innate cantrips. I like linguistic prodigy, so you know you're able to learn a couple of languages, which would be pretty cool because you know I like the way they framed it, where it's like you're like invested in culture.
Yeah, like you just recently came out of being part of this singular hive mind where you only speak the language of swarminess. So yeah, I can see how a character like that would just become super invested in like learning a bunch of things about other cultures, including their languages.
Yeah, and I like Free Thinker, where it's like, you know, you get resistance and a status bonus save against mental effects because, you know, you got out of being like, you know, mentally dominated by the swarm, right?
Yeah, your brain is yours.
My brain is mine. That's a GL. And yeah, later down the line, you can like improve your biocannon if you took that. You could get better at psychicness.
I think you can unfurl your wings, so that's where you get your fly speed at 5th level.
Yeah. And then you could evolve. You metamorphose into a powerful swarm-like creature. You retain your individuality. You gain +2 stats bonus to saves against fear and resistance to acid equal to half your level. You can cast Mask of Terror, a 7th rank, and 8 primal spell once per day. So I'm assuming that you just kind of yell and spook somebody with the fact that you're a big swarm man and you're full of psychic energy.
Yeah. But you're still
that's pretty
your
cool.
individual self.
Yeah, this is cool. All right, cool.
Yeah, I think a Swarm Exile Shirren would be cool as like this grungy little monster. But, you know, with a heart of gold.
Yeah, the heart of gold.
All right. And from there, we go on to the Skittermanders, the mascots of Starfinder, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think the Skittermanders are the very iconic creatures from Starfinder.
Little furry centipede bears.
I think that's a good way to describe them.
You know what? They really just remind me of like Stitch.
Yeah.
Lulu and Stitch. Like the multi-armed furry koala bear looking thing. These guys a little bit more lizard-like, but yeah, definitely the vibe. Some goofy goobers.
The example in the book is a lot more fashionable than I think some of the other ones have been as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Skittermanders, similarly to the Patra, they lived on a world that the Vesk conquered, but now they are a core ancestry that you can choose for your character.
Man, the Vesk have just been losing ground. Like, damn, bro. Like,
they're
how many
busy.
Of these dudes are gonna get out of the fold, man? What is the Vesk high leadership doing?
They're fighting the Aslanti Empire.
Damn, bro.
They have to worry about problems over there.
These guys are getting schmooved. These guys are getting Roman Empire, dude. Like,
yeah.
Get your stuff together.
So yeah, they've got low light vision. They've got overeager enthusiasm. So they have penalties on like perception checks to sense motive, and penalties against emotional effects. But of course, they have 6 arms, so they can carry 6 arms worth of equipment.
Yeah, but they can't use 6 arms worth of equipment in one go, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. And this was the same thing that we were talking about before with the Kasatha, who have 4
Yeah.
arms. You can carry 4 arms worth of equipment, but if you want to switch between them, you need to take an action to do so.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some like game-breaking reason why, but I don't know. That's fine.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, because it's basically like how you have to take an action to change your weapon. So, but if you were playing one of these characters, you basically like no longer ever have to take that action. And I think it would be better if you just could get a feat where you didn't have to do the switch active hands action. And if such a feat exists, that would be cool. But I guess I don't know about it.
Yeah, true. These guys are kind of on the beliefs of a Skittermander. They don't believe in gods, but if they do, it's like a god of favor. So it's like they like to help each other and mentorship and friendship. Wow, these guys are just like Care Bears.
Yeah.
With 6 arms. That's so nice. Why did the Vesk enslave you?
Mostly because it was easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Less of an invasion and more of just like they asked.
They asked, and they're like, okay. I don't know.
But yeah, they are very excitable. They have a few different types of heritages. The Everwhelp, even though they are a full-grown adult, they still possess the youngling traits of a Skittermander, specifically the the stomach mouth, the Gadrifeech, I think is how this is pronounced, where you grew up in a subterranean realm, so you have dark vision.
Oh, okay, cool.
The Scrabblers, they have 4 arms, but they also have 4 legs, so still same number of limbs.
They just decided to have, like, these are actually legs now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this a lot. They're just little weird centipede furry bug people who are also lizards. I don't know what they call them. They're just aliens. I love it.
I guess they're kind of spidery.
Oh, they are kind of spidery. I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, the Scrabblers, they get a climb speed equal to their base land speed, which is pretty tight, actually. And the Skitter Raised, who are raised in a tight-knit community, they get the group impression skill feat, and they get a bonus to aid allies at a skill check, as long as that skill check doesn't have the attack trait.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, they also have their own ancestry feats, like Hyper, where they increase their land speed, or their speed by 5 feet. Oh, I guess it just increases their speed, so if you have the climb speed, it would increase that too.
Yeah. Hug Master, Calvin, you missed
Hug Master. The Hug
right,
Master.
you gain Titan. You get the Titan Wrestler skill, which is wild, which allows you to grapple someone bigger than you, and you get +1 circumstance bonus to athletic checks to grapple, and you get +1 circumstance bonus to fortitude's DC to avoid being grappled. So yeah, you're so good at hugs that you can suplex somebody better. Isn't a suplex a really intense hug between you, the opponent, and the ground?
I think that makes sense. I love that Hug Master is also very good at avoiding being hugged too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, as they go on, they get like some rebel stuff, some, I guess, energy stuff. I guess because they're building up static. Secrete numbing saliva. They get to spit weird stuff at people.
Yeah, I do appreciate the gremlin energy. Helping Hand caught my eye. It's a pretty basic one, but I just realized like you can basically do aid without using your reaction, which could actually be very cool in certain circumstances. It could couple well with some other classes.
Yeah, especially after, you know, the tip of the week, where maybe using some actions that isn't attack would be, you know, beneficial.
Opportunistic Hug, which is grappling on a reaction against a failed attack.
Okay, these guys are funny.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And all 6 to put all your hands in.
That's so good. Actually, I really like that a lot. This like is what I kind of want this for, like all multi-limbed things.
Yeah.
Like You just like if you just can put all your limbs to it, you should just get bonuses for it.
So with all 6, when you make an attack roll or a skill check, you roll it 3 times and use the highest result because you're using all of your hands to do it.
Oh, that's so much hug energy, man. Like,
gonna be so good at hugging.
Yeah. I could totally see the kind of person who's like, yeah, I want to play one of these hug bears.
Yeah, I think the Skittermanders are like very representative of the direction that Starfinder is going in.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we get to the bad boys of Starfinder. One of my faves, the Vesk.
Yes, who apparently are the Vesk Empire has seen better days, dog.
They've got another thing to worry about. The Vesk are a warmongering reptilian people who conquered the 8 worlds in their solar system, basically right after they learned spaceflight.
They're like the Krogans if the Krogans got to space first and didn't need the Solarians' help. Because God knows if they had figured that shit out, everyone would have been cooked.
Yeah, I think that's why I like these guys. But yeah, the Skittermanders and the Patra, they were in the Vesk solar system. But yeah, after the Vesk have gone through clashes with the Swarm and the Pack Worlds and now the Aslanti Empire, they are good at conflict, but obviously it's having some impact. They also, I think we mentioned this a while back when we found out that it was Gorham who was going to be the deity that is dying in the upcoming books for Pathfinder. They have their own god of war, Demoratosh, who I guess is stepping in to take up the job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the Vesk are maybe a bit more, I want to say calm. I don't know if that's the right word. I guess I could say stoic, since that is brought up specifically here, compared to the Krogan.
Yeah. They're definitely
but,
more stoic than the Krogan.
That's not a very like high bar to reach.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, I see like the Krogan are basically a bunch of Mad Max idiots that was like, oh, space travel is real? Let me fight your fights for you. You know, but the Vesk grew up like more militaristic and less like out for themselves. So I'm assuming that they're just like military service versus like you just fight or, you know, be killed, basically. You kill or be killed, right?
So there's different Vesk heritages. I believe some of them are carried over variations from first edition. You have your Brisk Wander Vesk, which has increased speed. Your Night Stalker, which is very cool, where you gain dark vision. A Plated Vesk has basically like ingrown armor.
Mm-hmm.
And the Venom Thought Vesk, which allows you to cast Daze. And then there's the Warblood Vesk, where you get the Brutal Anatomy Ancestry feat, which is just basically like part of your body can be used as a weapon, like your claws, your jaws, or your tail.
I am a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, I love these guys. As far as Vesk feats go. Wow,
as far as Vesk feats go.
I don't know why I tried that sentence. I don't know where he's. As far as Vesk feats go. Oh my gosh, and they have alliteration here too because you have your armor ace and you have Bathed in Blood. But yeah, Bathed in Blood I thought was pretty cool because you know how to inflict bloody wounds on your enemies. So you get a bonus to any bleed damage that you deal. And it's easier for you to remove bleed damage on yourself.
I mean, you get the whole, like, I'm a big dude stuff, like Fearless, where you get to, if you succeed in the roll against fear effects, you'll get a critical success. So, you know, kind of like built in, I guess, the fighter feat.
Yeah.
But you're just born that way. Menacing Snarl, you get to intimidate people from far away. You get to frighten them because, you know, you're a big, scary lizard man. And,
oh, yeah.
You know,
Menacing Snarl, actually, because we were talking about how good Frighten is the other day. Basically, with Menacing Snarl, if you successfully frighten someone, you increase that frighten condition by 1, which means it's going to last a turn longer, and their negative is going to be higher for the first round. Because even if they save, like, it's still frightened 1 on a save, right? But they can save and get frightened 2.
And then also like stack on like suppression if you're playing like a soldier, something like that, which is like my go-to idea of what a Vesk is. Like, you can really make somebody suck at their job at killing you.
Yes.
Because you're a big, tough, scary lizard man. Oh, cool. Damaratosh's Claw once looks like a focus ability where you get to like pray to Damaratosh. You pray to Damaratosh for a blessing in the heat of battle, and Damaratosh answers. You gain 1 focus point up to your maximum. Oh, cool. So you just can like get a focus Pokemon because Damaratosh is like, yeah, you probably need a kid to like go get him.
You are required to be engaged in combat for it to work, though.
Yeah, but you're venerating Damaratosh.
Yeah.
Damaratosh.
Damaratosh.
Crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate that a requirement of it is that you have to be engaged in combat. Because normally outside of combat, you can take 10 minutes to regain a focus point. But yeah, no, I like the idea of just mid-fight calling out for your war god, and you get your spells back.
Yeah, he like yes, my son. Like. Oh, cool. I like the level 9 one, opening roar, where you get to just intimidate people for free. You get to just intimidate 1 foe in Ray at the start of battle. Additionally, if you have battle cry feat, you can demoralize up to 2 targets. Yo, get wrecked.
I like that it lets you use your intimidation for initiative. That's, I think, one of the strong points with Pathfinder as well, is that you don't necessarily have to use the initiative value, which is normally your perception. You don't necessarily have to use that for initiative. You can use stealth, you can use deception, or sometimes you can use intimidation. Well, I mean, it is situational. You can't just be like, hey GM, I'm going to use stealth for my initiative roll in this brightly lit open field, but...
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Before we call down the Saints, I'm still here. You get to just... Divine Innate spell once per day. Oh, you get Spiritual Guardian. You get to literally call on your ancestors. Stop.
You see the one under that, though?
Overcome shame? Yeah, overcome shame is so good, too. You critically miss, but then you're like, oh no, my reputation. I got it.
I think we did see this one before, because I think we saw a preview of the Vesk, and this was one that also stood out because it was really good.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I love that you're just so much of a warrior race that you're just like inherently like, I cannot make this failure. I have to redeem myself. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, I like the Vesk. I think they're one of my favorites in Starfinder.
All right, let's move on to the
Ysoki.
Ysoki.
Yeah.
Is it Ysoki?
I'd say Ysoki, but I don't know. It could be something different.
Ysoki. Okay, cool.
But these are your yeah.
I was gonna call them like rat folk, but they're not really rat folk.
They pretty much are.
Yeah.
It does specify below that, like, in a situation where you're using Pathfinder rules and something rat folk related come up, the Ysoki do qualify for that.
Yeah, but they're like aliens primarily, and not just humans turned into rat folk or some other race turned into rat folk, right? Yeah. But they basically are. I mean, it sounds like they just are kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I think, because I'm trying to remember some of the... I think the attributes and HP and everything are pretty much the same between Ratfolk and Ysoki.
That's true. It says here explicitly that they don't care about their, how they even came a part of his convergent, by a convergent evolution or whatever. They're just like, they're far-flung rat cousins. They just embrace them regardless. So, to me, yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I think these guys can really hit the Rocket Raccoon vibe if that's what you're going for.
Oh, most definitely. Just like a small, smart dude who just kind of can put together a gun out of literally anything.
Oh, yeah. Especially because these guys can, like, carry stuff in their cheek pouches.
Which I think is pretty funny because you pull it out, it's all slimy. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter if it's slimy, it still works.
It still works, yeah. We're from Brooklyn. Like,
I mean, I don't know what other voice you could give a character like this.
that's true.
I have a rat folk NPC in one of my games, and it's like, what other voice would he have?
I drive cabs. Little cap on. Yeah, I see it. Okay, so yeah, you got Akatonian Ysoki, where you trained in crafting instead of thievery to disable a device, so you can use crafting because you can take something apart instead of just being good at breaking into it.
Yeah, you were born in the scrap heaps on Akaton, which I guess is still a giant scrap heap in second edition.
They just didn't bother with it. They're like, it's fine. We're people. This is like
we're used to it.
Yeah, this is culture now. It's fine.
Your deep Ysoki, who live in subterranean areas and gain dark vision. Long Snout, which gain imprecise scent within a range of 30 feet, which I think is pretty cool, as well as bonuses to perception checks that involve using scent. Shipborn, which I really like, because you were born on a starship, which is just in general a character trait that I really like. So you get some proficiency in piloting, as well as a bonus on checks to tumble through the spaces of larger creatures, which I think could be really good for an operative or a rogue.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, definitely it's still Rocket Raccoon vibes.
And you have your tunnel Ysoki, which are better at like squeezing into spaces, and they can like move through spaces faster. And yeah, the feats, like I mentioned, you have your cheek pouches. I seem to recall, and I might have to double check, but I seem to recall that Ysoki just had those cheek pouches in first edition. Like it wasn't an extra feat that you had to get. Yeah, you just had them before. But now
you could just have options. Yeah, it's a part of the options.
Although, yeah, I was wondering why they would do that, but I guess because rat folk don't have the cheek pouch thing.
Yeah, maybe just kind of aligning the two versions. So
yeah. That's probably it, because then like the Ysoki would just be an inherently superior version of that ancestry, and I think they're trying to avoid that, at least from what we've seen with like the other ones that are the same between the two games, like human and android. Like you get different heritages, but the base isn't like inherently better.
Yeah, like these guys are definitely like a part of the sci-fi space genre. But yeah, I mean, level 1, you get cheek patches, you get like nimble tail, which allows you to do some cool stuff like push off in 0G, and you ignore like the clumsy and off guard penalties while inherent like untethered in 0G. So you're just kind of like, you can use your tail to maneuver better.
Yeah, you've got your tinkering fingers, which again I think is going to fit a certain character vibe, where you become trained in crafting and you can repair an item without using a repair kit, and you don't have any penalty for doing so.
I mean, and then there's vicious incisors, where you're a big rat person. You could just bite somebody.
I'm imagining like just the Ysoki with like a soldier or some kind of like aggressive melee class, and you're just also bitey.
I also like the fact that you can retrain it, because all you have to do is just shave down your teeth. And then you could just retrain this feat at any level, which is pretty cool.
Oh, true. Yeah, you can just drop this feat for a level if you want, and then sometime later you're like, all right, it's time to go all out. Oh, Prehensile Tail lets you, if you picked Nimble Tail before, then you can use your tail as an extra hand, like one extra hand.
Yeah, for blasting.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think you can blast. It says to perform interact actions.
Oh, but you can use it to hold one hand's worth of weapons and equipment.
Then I am correct. You can blast for blasting.
You just wrap your tail around like the trigger and then go pew pew.
Oh my god, Big Mouth! You could store up to 1 bulk's worth of item.
Yeah. I really like that one.
Interesting. They keep referencing the grandmother. Oh, here it is. Their goddess.
Yes.
Lao Shupo. I probably said that incorrectly.
The grandmother rat, Lao Shupo.
Lao Shupo, yeah. Encourage them to be selfish, engage in trickery, and embodies the values both Ysoki find indecent. Although upstanding Ysoki agree that sometimes there are traits that are necessary for survival. That is so funny. Like,
gotta do what you gotta do.
There's a whole path of people just being dicks because their god's like, yes, this is the way.
According to legend, Lao Shupo may have once been a simple rat who gnawed on the corpse of a dead god and became divine.
I mean, I know who that one is.
Wouldn't that be wild? I don't know if the timeline lines up, but I like it, so I'm gonna see what it does.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get on to the specialty classes, I guess.
So the versatile heritages. So these are things that you can apply onto any heritage, basically, or any ancestry, I should say. They basically change up how your ancestry works by giving you different types of lineages that you can go into. And the first one is the Borai, where you're basically just between living and dead. You're technically undead. Your body sort of functions as a shell that keeps your soul trucking around.
Versus like a more intermingled thing. You're more of like a soul piloting a meat mech.
A little bit. Yeah, you look the way you did in life, but you're paler and a bit waxy, and your blood is infused with void energy. You still have to like breathe, eat, and sleep, and you can be healed like a regular creature. But otherwise, yeah, you do look very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, many of them are born on Eox, born in quotation marks. Eox being the planet of the undead.
Mm-hmm. Where it's just kind of all that bad juju is kind of there. Well, not bad juju, I guess the undead juju.
Yeah, these were the ones that had, because we had these in first edition, the ships that weren't like sealed off from like having needing their own atmosphere, because everyone on there was undead and didn't need to breathe in the first place.
Oh, cool. There's a etheric ability where you can just if you're going to be hit by void damage, you can just push your soul out of your body to form like a shield around you, but then you actually get healed by the void damage, which is pretty rad.
Yeah, I feel like that should cause some sort of danger for your soul to use it as a shield, but it's also a very cool image.
Yeah, headstrong, where you just like didn't accept your own defeat and held on to your corpse, forcing your soul back into your body. Damn, bro. You get +1 on will saving throws against fear effects that would make you confused or controlled. Or fear and effects that would make you confused and controlled. And +1 bonus to will DC against attempts to demoralize you because you're so mad that you're like, no, I'm still alive, I said.
Hell yeah. Oh no, now I want a headstrong Borai Vesk. Think about
I know. Headstrong Borai Vesk. You're like, I never died. What do you mean? Call yourself the Colonel. Like, just like this. Clearly there's bullet holes in you. You're just like, whatever. These are just flesh wounds.
But how cool would that be? Like, this character, like, they take off their armor, it reveals, like, all this extensive bullet wound damage that they should be dead from. But they just keep going because they have one last job.
One last job. Yeah.
And then there is also the necrotized lineage, where you became a Borai intentionally through some sort of necromantic experimentation, which lets you gain the Die Hard feat, and you are no longer killed by death effects if they reduce you to 0 hit points. You're not immune to like other aspects of the spell, but you just don't instantly die from them, which is how they would normally work.
Yeah, like apparently you can still be frightened to death because you see the visions of your death. Oh, sorry, you can still take the mental damage, but you're not afraid of dying because you already did it.
Yeah, you'll just die normally from being hit while at 0 hit points, but
you'll just die like normal versus instantaneous. First level feats, we have Baleful Gaze. Focus your ill intent on one living creature in 30 feet. The target must say a will save or become frightened because, you're a zombie person looking at them. You get some cool death-related spells like Vitality and Void Warp. You're warping that void. And you can select this up to twice to get different cantrips. And then there's one that's called Only Slightly Dead, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, where you can sort of blend in with living society without having to disguise yourself.
Yeah, you can be like, I'm a secret undead spy.
Just ignore why I'm so cold and clammy.
Yeah, it's because I just have low iron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess these ones kind of really lean into the I'm a dead person, and having one's beings either so determined to stay alive that you re-enter your body, or gives you like cool spirit powers, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
like there's some other ones where you're just like extremely stubborn. There is stuff where like you have visions of afterlife planes, whichever those may be.
Oh, here's one that's kind of crazy. Metabolize soul for one action. Once per day, you can force your body to metabolize a portion of your animating soul to rapidly heal your wounds and prolong your life. You gain 3d8 hit points plus a number of additional hit points equal to your level. You're just like, actually, I'm fine.
Yeah, I like how much of the Borai stuff is just, you gotta keep yourself alive.
Yeah, this one's like stubborn as ... like... When you critically fail a saving throw against a mental effect, you get a failure instead. Additionally, you get deny failure reaction. Where you critically fail a saving throw, you refuse to accept the failure, re-roll the triggered saving throw. If the result is a critical failure, this use of deny failure doesn't count towards its frequency. You can keep trying to deny failure. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost like, I'm thinking, if you just let someone take on this versatile heritage as a like a free archetype after their character dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's move on to the next one, which is the last one.
Yep, the last one for today is the Prismeni, who is a being that is sort of suffused with the energy of the drift, which is the plane that's used for like interstellar travel. Basically, you hop into another dimension and hop back out as a shorter ride to get from point A to point B, which again is a 40k thing, I believe.
Well, I mean, the drift sounds a lot nicer than 40k's Hell Realm, so.
Yeah, I guess for some people that might be debatable, because you don't know what you could find in there. Mm-hmm. But this also brought up an interesting point because it's related to the drift crisis, which is described as a year-long event that saw the drift crash and then it's slowly been rebooted back to functionality, which is something that I was unaware of because the drift crisis, it's one of the more recent Starfinder events. It's basically just like the drift stopped working and then the ramifications of that all through the universe. There was a pretty good book for it because the book also included notes of like, here's how to change the already printed adventures to make them work in like during the drift crisis. But part of me was also like, I really liked the idea of the drift, so I am happy to see that it is rebooting with possibly some new influence over space.
Yeah, I mean, they have some cool ancestry feats and stuff. You get like piloting bonuses to navigate the drift.
Yeah, depending on what sort of Prismeni you turn out to be.
Yeah, I mean, you get cool drift touch. You can like summon the drift into like this kind of kaleidoscope barrier. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that one. Spectra Soul. You have a close connection to a Spectra, which is like this entity that lives in the drift, and you can communicate with Spectra and intelligent constructs with the tech trait. So you can just communicate with intelligent machines.
Ooh, cool.
And Triune's Chosen, where the machine god deity chose you to become a Prismeni, which I think this would be really good for an android. Because you hold the all code and its blessings close to your heart. And then, yeah, you also get proficiency with the Pulse Gauntlet, which is pretty badass.
For sure.
This deity chooses you and is like, here, take this power glove.
Yeah, just like Give him the power glove. The guitar starts to riff. Like, get some tech stuff. You get to be a living battery where you can like recharge batteries. Yeah. For your power glove.
Yeah, it actually like you get the cantrip electric arc, but then you can also use it on tech items. So yeah, you can recharge batteries with your electric arc spell, which is very fun.
Yeah, data jockey, you can cast the implant data cantrip, which I'm assuming you just plug in. Like,
yeah, I like how there's spells that just do like tech stuff in Starfinder.
Yeah. Ooh, there's tech caster. Later levels you get delete, which is funny as a divine spell, and supercharged weapon, which is pretty jokes.
Yeah, I think delete
Cosmic
we looked
Traveler.
at before.
Oh yeah, or you could just delete a part of a message, right? Or some information, and somebody believes it. Like,
yeah, I believe that was it. Yeah, delete removes data from a device or object. We should probably do an episode on the spells because there's some really cool stuff here.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so basically it's like drift stuff and movement, cosmic movement stuff, and like you are also good at machines because the machine god loves you stuff.
Basically.
Yeah. I love drift strike's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
You know, your last action was a successful critical hit with a melee strike against a creature. You launch the triggered creature into the drift to reposition it across the battlefield. The creature is teleported to a location of choice up to 20 feet from its starting location within line of sight. If you're in the drift, the teleportation is doubled. The creature must be able to fit in the new location, and it must be unoccupied. The creature attempts a will save to be unaffected, basically. So yeah, you fail, you teleport, or if you succeed, it's half. And wow, this is awesome.
Some bad guy like boards your ship mid-drift, and you just knock them the hell out. Just knock them to drift space.
Okay. Could you imagine if you like buy a window, you just teleport them outside your ship? Yeesh. Oh, that's awesome. I might just steal this for an item. That sounds sick.
Yeah, man.
I'll make it. Yeah, I would love to make like a Pathfinder signature weapon where it's like, you know, you for a critical hit effect, this you get to teleport somebody. That's such a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's like instead of like knockback, it's like teleport knockback.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all of the races.
Yeah, quite a few options here in second edition Starfinder. Some new ones that are going to be like core options to the game. And there was already quite a few options for first edition, so I'm hoping we get to see some of those come up in, I think, Alien Core is what they're calling the new Alien books now. But yeah, I really like all these options. I've definitely talked about the ones I want to make. I definitely want to do something with an android or the Patra or, of course, the classic Vesk. I don't know, Ramon, is there any particulars that stood out to you as characters that you want to make?
Definitely the Barathu. Yeah. Because gotta be Blasto.
Yeah.
like I gotta be the space bounty hunter Blasto. Or no, what was he? Was he a military guy? I forget. But anyway,
he was like the
true
action movie guy.
Yeah, the true hero of Mass Effect, Blasto. The ones that the kids really remember saving the universe.
Which is well deserved because Blasto is everyone's hero.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that you can be like a jellyfish dude as a core part of the game.
Yeah, and still hold a gun, like.
Yeah, I really like where they're going. I like the direction they're going in. Even stuff like the book design, which we didn't talk about too much this series, but I like the changes that the game is going through, and I'm super curious to see where everything ends up. But since we covered all of the ancestries, next time we talk about Starfinder, we can talk about some of the classes.
Yeah. What we can do is we can maybe apply some of the classes with the characters and maybe come up with a cool character concept for each of them when we review them. So maybe we'll do that.
Ooh. Oh, is that we should just make characters over the series?
Yeah. Because, you know, Yeah, I have to figure out which one Blasto is. Is he an envoy? Is he a soldier? I don't know.
Ooh, maybe. I was thinking operative, but you can make a good case for soldier.
Oh, operative too? Man, sky's the limit on Blasto.
All right, so yeah, in the future we'll be looking at the available Starfinder classes, and I believe early next year they're going to be putting out playtest documentation for Technomancer and the Mechanic. And I think those two and the 6 that are in the book are going to be what's appearing in the actual release of Starfinder 2nd Edition next year. So look forward to that. Thanks a ton out there, everybody, for listening to this episode. If you want to hear us talk about more Starfinder related stuff, just let us know in the comments if you're on YouTube, or pop over to our website if you're on another platform. Additionally, I want to make sure to shout out the people who are linked below. If you're into the Lancer RPG, there's a lot of cool Lancer resources linked below. Also want to shout out the Untold Stories project, where I'm going to be at in the Freedom League Dark series and in some of their one-shots. They've got some really cool stuff coming up towards the end of the year as we get into one-shot season. Also want to make sure to advertise, or I guess point out, the gaming streams on the channel. Wrapping up Alan Wake 2 soon, getting midway through Armored Core 6, which I've also been playing off-stream because it's a lot of fun, as well as Baldur's Gate 3, where we recently had a co-op episode with Untold Stories Project, with a campaign that's probably going to catch up to where I am pretty soon.
Oh my god, Callie, you can't, dude. Like, you have to finish more of that thing.
But there's just so much stuff to poke at. I got turned into cheese last time.
Oh, get out of here.
I pissed off a genie, but it wasn't my fault. He was cheating at games, and I called him out, and then he's like, oh yeah, and he turned me into cheese. And then I was like, I bet you can't do that twice. So I went back to him and I was like, you still cheated at the games. And then he teleported me to a goddamn dinosaur island.
What? Oh no, do I have to play this game? This game sounds fun.
You might have to.
Dang it.
Freaking guy. Look, I don't care, I was right.
I mean, okay, man.
It was worth it. Yeah, so definitely go check out those gaming streams. But yeah, I think that'll do it. Ramon, anything else we should say before we head out of here?
I think that's it.
Alright. Well, for all of our GMs and players out there who forced themselves back into life because they were just too stubborn, just remember to keep on winning with dice. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.